friends, this is Amber, and today I'm with Mary from the Making Foundation, and we're going to talk about how to get more women involved in STEM. For the folks that don't know out in YouTube La La Land, what is STEM?
STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And my favorite way to refer to it is STEAM, which includes an art element, because for me, form has always followed function. And so when we're talking about getting kids involved in STEM and STEAM, helping them realize that science, technology, engineering, art, and math are all things that help our society go forward.
I think STEAM is good because, especially for our daughter, she's not so much all of the STEM part, but she's definitely that A.
Yeah.
And so, I agree with you. I think we need to incorporate that more to anybody, not just females. Mary, why did you choose the Making Foundation?
The Making Foundation, I wanted to find a way to educate anybody who wanted to learn, and even some who didn't know that they wanted to learn, about working with your hands, or just in general having a literal interpretation of where the things that they were kind of learning in school. Mm-hmm. We additionally learn and teach here by experiments. So we're learning on the go. Kids have questions for me, how do I do this, how do I do this? And I'm like, let's give it a shot, let's see what we can do. Mistakes are very subjective. So when you're working on a project and you feel like you've made an error, it is often not an error, but something that you can kind of focus your entire project on. Being able to have males and females from different socioeconomic statuses together in the same room, having them learn how to socialize together prior to when they get their first job at 16, it is incredible. They'll come in here, they're not making eye contact with each other. One feels better, one feels worse. By the end of it, everybody's just a human and we're just kind of learning stuff together. And I think that that's very important, to not just be spit out into the world as a working adult and have never met someone that isn't from your family group or your neighborhood group or your church group or wherever you hang out. Learning that people just a couple blocks away from you live life an entirely different way, and that is great, and that we all kind of start over when we're learning something new together.
What age would you think your interest in STEM started perking?
I think that I was probably in about first grade. I started to realize my teacher had us build a tiny town, kind of like the ones that you used to see on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And I realized that how do they get the pipes for water under the streets? Because it's not just construction paper and then construction paper buildings. Like, how does the water get to us? How does all that happen? As I got older, our 8th grade was connected to our high school. There was a vocational school across the street from us. And when I tried to take a class over there, it was filled up with a bunch of boys, and we were not able to focus on what the education that we were receiving, because it was so strange to have a female in the class. And I was like, fine. So I gave up, which was probably should not have done that, but I did. I gave up. And then I realized later that if we can get more females involved in that education, then there's not going to be one kid saying, oh, this is uncomfortable. That, I've got a friend across the room that looks like me. For me as a kid, math was very difficult. There were a lot of nights spent crying, begging, and pleading at a dining room table on why math. It seemed like I was bad at it. And that was not the case. I got a job as a compounding pharmacy technician where I was able to actually physically hold math and do fractions on a literal sense. I learned that not only did I love math, I was actually really good at it. The education that I did receive was based on how do I get around the math. So art education was a great way, I thought, to get around math. I could measure once and cut 40 times and that was okay, because it was art, and that was great. So that was good. I did end up having to write a lot of art history papers, which was but it was good enough. So I wanted to make sure that anybody that wanted to find a way to see that they're good at math, and just because you can't fill in the proper circle at the proper time in a timed setting, that doesn't mean that you're not worthy of whatever education that you want to receive. In my youth, I was introduced to a lot of things, and they were largely female-based, like dance and drama and home ec, and all I wanted to do was auto mechanics. The toys that I got to play with were Barbies, and that's cool, but I stopped asking for gifts for myself really and started lobbying for Legos for my little brother, because they would get Legos for him. But my brother hated building Legos. He wanted to just play with the Lego after it was built, and it blew my mind. I was like, I don't understand. Why would you play with a Lego in the way that they told you to on the box. So anyway, I'd build the Lego thing for him, he'd play with it, and then he'd be done with it, and I'd be like, great, now I can add it to my collection of orphaned Legos.
Mary, have you had any negative experiences thus far?
The biggest hindrance for me has been the stigma of trade. It was thought that the liberal arts was the only way to kind of get an education, and I want to stop that conversation entirely if we can. I come from a legacy of coal miners who turned lawyers and educators, and so they had been kind of told about a stigma of trade work, that discouraging trade, that everybody was kind of doing that. And so there's been a huge loss of individuals in my age range, 30 to 40, that they're not doing trade stuff because they were told that that's not the way that you can make money. Mm-hmm. And when in fact, that is a very great way to make money, and often even more substantial money than what you would be doing otherwise. I think that having trade experiences for every single person is important, because sometimes you don't know that that's what you need. So getting kids interested in building with their hands or building with their feet. If they don't have hands, everybody can do this.
Mary, what did your friends and family think about your next move with the Making Foundation?
They were glad that I was able to find a way to combine my sales background, my math background, my insurance background, my art education background into a good place where I could speak to a very wide and diverse population of people from the ages of 8 to 18 and even beyond that.
Since you have started here and you've been left not knowing the answers to some things, how have you found them or studied them or come up with them?
My favorite way to find answers are to ask the people that I respect first. And I ask them, and that kind of gives me a lot of additional questions that I want to ask. And the internet is incredible. The internet didn't really exist when I was born, and so figuring that out as that has kind of come along is a great resource. YouTube videos, like the one that this is probably going to be on, are so helpful. The library still exists, like in a physical form. I know, isn't that crazy? So I go to the library a lot. They actually have new books from like this century.
Mary, what obstacles have you overcome?
Biggest obstacle for me, I'm kind of carving a niche here. This is new, what we're doing here at the Making Foundation. We were founded in 2016. So the obstacles that we're overcoming is just trying to find a way to get manufacturers and people that are having trouble hiring for the trades to say, no, we do need to be interested in 8-year-olds and where they are going to go and if they want to be involved with us. That is probably the biggest obstacle that we're facing right now. So we've got a bunch of kids that are interested in learning about trades, and finding the funding for that is interesting.
Mary, how can people learn more about the Making Foundation?
The Making Foundation has a Facebook page. We also have a website. It is makingfoundation.org, and on Facebook it's Making Foundation. We also are on Instagram, which is a lot of fun. If you're into engineering, you should be on Instagram because there's a lot of fun stuff going on there. And that's also Making Foundation. And what we would like to do is, if you're interested in getting involved, you can send me an email, marybruce@makingfoundation.org. And I would love to start a dialogue with anybody that's even feigning interest at this point, because we feel like we're really onto something on getting kids involved at as early as an age as possible with the trades and just general working with your hands. In addition to trying to get kids as early as possible, there are a lot of people that are in my age group or even older that have not had a chance to do that. We've had moms who have been totally in the trenches of being a mom, which a way to go, but now they're like, okay, now I want to focus on me and I want to learn how to fix some stuff, and I also want to learn how to make some stuff. And so we're excited that we actually offer classes. Those classes to the adults actually help fund our kids programming, which is important. We're looking for grant writers. We're looking for people that want to invest in us. If you are a female and in trades, I encourage you to get out there, get involved with youth in some way. Come to the Making Foundation and we can put you to work.
That's what we do. I swear, we could literally be sisters.
Should we just go ahead and just reveal it
and
to the
claim
world?
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man. If we ever have alcohol, it'd be bad.
It'd be great.
It'd be great. Okay. Honestly, we have the biggest brains, just very tiny heads. It's oozing out of our ears.
Yeah, like a coop. My first job out of college was selling Harleys. Woo! I'm new to the field. I guess when you think about it, men have been doing this for, 300 years longer?
Centuries.
There will be things that are new to them also, like cutting their fingernails.
We're totally keeping that in.
Hi, this is Tim.
And this is Amber of TW Controls.
We run the automation store.
Be sure to subscribe for more great videos.
And like this video and comment on what you would like to see next.
Visit our website where we offer a full line of PLCs, simulators, control panels, PLC trainers, and more.